one, I would like to personally start with Abigail, seeing as I saw this one the furthest back. This is a horror film directed by Radio Silence, the two men that call themselves Radio Silence, who I am a huge fan of. I think that they bring a lot of freshness to horror. I loved Ready or Not, and I love Scream 5 and Scream 6, which they directed as well. This one starring Melissa Barrera, as well as Scream 5 and Scream 6, so I was happy to see them work with her again. Just interested to see what this film would be. It's a vampire-themed film. Basically, the premise that you get in the trailer is what the movie is. These people, they kidnap a girl, have to hold her in this house, and then they find out she's a vampire, and then they're kind of stuck with her for the night. So that is the premise of the film. It also has like Catherine Newton and Angus Cloud and Kevin Durand and the one from Beauty and the Beast, Dan Stevens. A really great cast, a lot of really great people in this film. One of those movies that, like I said, what is pitched in the trailer is exactly what the film is. I personally got to say, I had a blast with this movie. I don't think that Radio Silence has slipped up at all with any of their 4 films. I think that this one is right on par with the rest of their films. It was really, really neat to see that. I think that this is just so much fun, and it's very like funny and action-packed at the same time. And also, I mean, there's one or two, really good scares in there, but for the most part, it's just like fun, and that's what these guys do best. They just like to bring the fun to the horror. I loved it. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I genuinely loved this movie. I didn't think that anything really slipped. I mean, if anything, there was maybe a little bit you could have trimmed for the beginning, and then maybe a little bit you could have trimmed out the ending of the third act, but like other than that, like it was maybe just like a hair too long. One of my favorite things about this is like Melissa Barrera. She carried this movie for me. I thought her performance was stellar as the lead in this, and she played a role that I haven't really seen her play before, which I really enjoyed. I'm glad she wasn't just mimicking the role of Sam from Scream. She was actually playing a mother character who had a lot of backstory going on for her that I won't give away here. Honestly, by the end of it, she's really the one that brings the heart to the film. The late great Angus Cloud is playing a character that's perfect for him in this film, I gotta say. Kevin Durand is amazing in this, like hilarious, and he was doing things that just, I was like, oh my gosh. And same for Dan Stevens. I mean, Dan Stevens is perfect. He's more the edgy one, so he's kind of perfect for that role, and he's bringing a lot of life to it. And then Catherine Newton, I would say maybe had some of the more limited time in this film, but she honestly, for what she had, it was really good. Like, honestly, she is just so perfectly cast. This was just such a great ensemble piece on top of being like a really fun horror movie to go see in the theaters. But yeah, I can't recommend Abigail enough. Jose, you saw it, and that excites me. So I haven't heard your thoughts on it really yet. So what'd you think of it?
No, yeah, I thought it was a really good movie. I had a great time with it. Like you said, the casting was perfect. Honestly, like everyone played their roles perfectly. Like you said, Angus, this was just like his perfect character because obviously we all know him from Euphoria as a druggie, and that's exactly what he played here. Rest in peace. Honestly, he will be missed. Melissa Barrera, I mean, I haven't seen the newest Scream, but from what I heard, fantastic stuff. I agree with you. She personally carried this. I mean, she was absolutely incredible.
Her and the relationship, the relationship between her and Abigail, I would say almost carry it because like the little young gal that plays Abigail, was so good. But
she totally agree. Like her and Abigail, like the relationship that they grew together from start to the end of this was incredible. They both carried this 100%. Kevin Durant, honestly, was like such a comic relief in this. He was so funny. Oh my god!
Also coming up in Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes too. So I'm so excited for that because he's in that. So which I know you saw already, but we'll talk about that at a different time.
But yeah, no, man, just hilarious in this. The fact that they made him like put on that accent was I think is what made it even funnier. Honestly,
oh my gosh, he was great. He was great.
Yeah, no, he was. And I mean, Dan Stevens, obviously great character as well. He obviously something different, so because everyone knows him as the Beast from Beauty and the Beast, so something different from that. But it was still
very different,
really cool. I enjoyed it a lot, and of course, how can we forget about Giancarlo Esposito's character?
Yeah, like again, another one with like a little bit of limited time, but like still like brought what he was supposed to. I think in this one, I
think the limited stuff that he did still had really good impact on the overall movie. Catherine Newton, like you just said, she did have a limited role in this, but for what she did, it was good. I really enjoyed it. There's one scene in particular I don't want to get into because it's spoilers, but you might know what I'm talking about, where I think she was used the best. Man, it was just great. Like, I was skeptical about this at first because it's classified as a horror, but upon watching it, it's not really horror. It's more of like a thriller.
It's fun. It's really fun.
It's like a fun thriller with like the teensiest amount of horror.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I really did have a really good time with this, and yeah, I would honestly recommend this to everyone because it's just such a good, it's a fun watch. If you're a fan of any of these actors, or if you're a fan of all of them, I would recommend watching this because they just like the chemistry that they all had together was just like insane.
I'd
Honestly,
also
like you said, Radiohead did
Radio
incredible.
Silence, yeah.
Or Radio Silence
Yeah.
did, yeah.
Yeah, they did a
incredible.
great job directing it. Those guys are great. I recommend their other projects if you haven't seen them yet. But the thing I would also point out is like they pay homage definitely to other like horror things, like and they don't exactly go like how you think they're gonna go, because like there's a scene with Angus Cloud and Catherine Newton because it got flipped on its head. You think you know where it's going because it usually goes a certain way. I'm not gonna say the scene, but you probably know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're
And
talking about. Yeah,
usually would go a certain way in horror movies, and because of the choice that the Catherine Newton character makes, it kind of goes a different way, and it's hilarious. And there's another scene, like it's literally an homage to Dumb and Dumber, something that happens to Angus Cloud's character. They literally pull a joke from Dumb and Dumber right there. It's hilarious, and that really made me laugh as well. And these guys, I'm telling you, they just got a handle on their, I guess, formula for how to make their movies, because like again, this one to me didn't miss. I think it's right on par with their other three that I referenced toward the beginning of the review here. Yeah, it's genuinely just such a blast and so fun. There's one thing toward the end, well, you can't spoil it, but okay, something happens toward the end. We kind of get introduced to a new character who's been referenced throughout the film. It almost feels like it's just like tacked on to the ending, and I'm sitting there like, okay, this really doesn't work. But then there's a line that happens after that, and I'm like, because of that one little line, it's like 3 words worth of a line, I'm like, it made that whole thing work. And it was like incredible. Like I was like, oh my gosh, like that wouldn't have worked without that simple line that is said. So yeah, these guys, they just know what they're doing. And I love this movie, like genuinely loved it. And I'm gonna give it a must watch. Obviously, I really thought it was really good. So Jose, where are you going with this one?
yeah. No, I mean, I'm gonna have to give it a must watch as well. Honestly, I'll probably be rewatching this movie a couple more times just because, again, it's in that horror category, but it's one of those that I can watch.
That's our review of Abigail. Let us know what you thought of the film. If you've seen it, are you gonna watch it based on our review, or were you interested already, or do you just not like Radio Silence's movies in general? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear it.